This is not my studio. Oh, wait. Yes, it is.
Just play the damn thing.
So last week I uploaded my very first video that I've uploaded in probably 4 months. At least 3 months, probably 4 months. And a lot of you, said, welcome back and all that kind of stuff, et cetera, et cetera. In the interim, I've received lots of comments on my other videos. People asking me where I'm at and hoping everything's okay and all that kind of stuff. I've left some comments here or there telling people that just some life stuff that I've been handling. I mentioned to a few people moved into I actually mentioned in one of the videos that I uploaded last week that I moved into we bought a new house. Along with that process also came the huge pain in the ass of selling the old house and packing up everything that we own, which especially when it comes to all of my music equipment, that was quite a task. I've never owned as much music gear as I have right now, and I found out when I went to go pack it all up. It was a lot of work, and it was even more work unpacking it, getting this new studio built. And getting everything put away and arranged and all that kind of stuff how I wanted it. But the good news is now I have a little bit bigger space. I'm able to fit everything all in the same room. Very, very much looking forward to it, and I'm already a lot more comfortable shooting in this room than I ever was at the old place. But to those of you that reached out to check on me to make sure wanted to make sure that everything was okay, I wanted to say thank you for taking the time to do so, and thank you for caring enough to do so. But there is one other significant piece of life news that I did not share with any of my my YouTube audience. A bigger music room, a bit bigger studio, while certainly a very nice perk, was not the reason why we decided to sell our house and move into a bigger one. The old house was just we were outgrowing it, and the neighborhood we were in was drastically going downhill, unfortunately. We wanted a place that was a little bit bigger with more bedrooms and in a much nicer neighborhood. So that is what we did, and that's where we're living now. But while all those things are also true, that's still not the main reason. The main reason is that 4 weeks ago tomorrow, as of this recording, I actually became a father for the first time in my life at 47 years old. My wife and I had a beautiful little baby girl we were over the moon in love with, and we wanted to raise her in a nicer neighborhood, a bigger house, and give her all of the advantages and the best possible lifestyle that we can possibly afford to give her. And the truth is, there just wasn't anywhere. The old house, we were already busting at the seams, and there was just nowhere to put a baby. So it was time to make a step up, and that's what we did. So I'm not going to post any pictures of my daughter online because I don't want any pictures of my daughter out there online anywhere. So please don't ask to see. So for those who might be interested in seeing her, please don't ask, because I'm not going to accommodate. That is a decision that we have made as parents, and we intend to stick to it, at least for the foreseeable future. So that said, you've already seen bits and pieces of this room in another video already, but let me show you around. So this is the new space, and it's probably going to look a little bit bigger on camera, here, especially from this angle, but it is a little bit bigger. The biggest thing to note here is that I actually have a space to put everything, all of my gear, all in the same room. And it's not half of it's not overflowing out into other parts of the house and taking over more space than I should be. It's a large bedroom that we're in again here, I guess, as opposed to a small bedroom. This is, I got a bunch of like really small amps that are like good for like backups and things like that. Here's my old trusty crate power block. That's my Joyo band amp there. Of course, the Wong's Mini 5. There's a 6505 Piranha, tiny little that Foggy Mountain speaker cabinet. I don't know if I've ever done a video on that or not. Maybe I should. Just small little lunchbox amps. This one, mine is a couple of random pairs of cheap headphones that I need to get rid of. That one's got some guitar parts in it. This one has most of my guitar maintenance and guitar tools and stuff in it. That Digitech case is just spare cables and stuff. This one, this is like the one box in this whole shelf that is not guitar related. Some of you know that I like to collect watches, and that's what, the boxes for those watches are in here. And these are all my microphones. Condenser mics, a couple of MXLs. A lot of people give me a hard time about those because they're inexpensive, but I don't care. I like them. Same like Sterling Audio, old-fashioned Audio Technica AT2020. Trusty. That's a great sounding mic, by the way. I've used that one for like live streams and stuff before. You guys really like the sound of that one. And this one, mic cables. This is video equipment, camera equipment stuff. There's some small lights and spare lenses and just random hardware, umbrellas. These are, umbrellas back there, just random crap. And this one is all instrument cables. All instrument cables. As a guitar player, you need plenty of those. And this one here is like TRS and random, TRS cables and speaker cables and any other kind of random shit that I may need. Don't want to forget my trusty, those Kiss figurines I've had hanging on the wall for probably close to 20 years. They came out with those, no, more than that, probably close to 30 years. Those came out when they got back together and did the Psycho Circus reunion tour. That's what era those are from. I got the biggest bedroom in the house for my music gear, but the biggest bedroom also came with the smallest closet. So as you can see, I've got it stuffed chock full of guitar cases, and that's really about all that I got room for in here. I wanted to organize my pedal shelves a lot better than they were at the old place. The old place I just kind of had to slap them up in the wall, wherever I could find room, and that's just kind of how it worked, because all the guitars and the amps and all that stuff were already in place. So I kind of had to work with the space that I had. So here, I decided that I wanted to be a little bit more strategic. So I figured out a way to make the pedals a little bit more organized and together. This obviously, you guys know I'm a huge Boss pedal fan. So there's all my Boss pedals. Looked like I had a lot more of those at the old house, but that's still all of them that I had. And then we got the Ibanez, MXR, NuX. I haven't gotten to use this amp in this house yet, but or in the studio. But I'm sure the opportunity will come. That's my trusty 6505, 6505 Plus combo. You guys have heard many times. Up there, we got all my wah and expression type pedals. Yes, I have 3 Ibanez Weeping Demons, because that is my all-time favorite wah pedal. And back when you could still buy those things used for about 30 or 40 bucks, I made sure I had 3 different pedal boards at the time, and I wanted one on each one of those, including one that I had, a bass pedal board that I had. And I just never got rid of them. And I'm not going to either, because for some reason, even when all the settings set exactly the same, they all sound different. Never quite figured out why that is. Let's see what we got here. All of my mini pedals are up there, and the Tone City stuff, like the Golden Plexis and the Model M's. I love those pedals. This section here is all just kind of like random boutique stuff, and pedal brands I only own one of, things like that. There's OCD pedals. Seymour Duncan, the old Line 6 Tone Core stuff, and of course the greatest pedal ever made, the Amp Tweaker Type Metal Pro. And more boutique stuff, of course Pepper's pedals and Parks Custom pedals, Hagerman effects, all kinds of stuff. I've demoed just about all these on my channel at one point in time or another. So if you see something that catches your attention, search my channel. You can probably find a video on it. If you're not sure what it is, but you want to know, let me know, and I will point it out to you. And of course, all the TC stuff, Electro-Harmonics and Joyo stuff, among others. Now, one of the biggest benefits to this new spot is, as you can see, I'm a big fan of Grill and JR. I love that podcast, so sometimes I put it on YouTube and listen to it while I'm working on stuff. Listen to it in the background. But, at the old house, you guys might remember, I had 2 different recording desks, one for, the 2 different spaces that I recorded in. Well, I was able to get rid of one of them and combine everything else here to one location, finally. So now I got my Cali audio monitors that I used the most, and then a pair of KRKs. These are KRK Rocket 5s. These are the Gen 4s. I think they just came out of the 5th generation, so these are now a few years old. But I hated the earlier generations of the KRKs, the Rocket series stuff anyway. Absolutely hated them, but by the generation 3 they began to sound a little bit better, and generation 4 they sounded a lot better. Enough that I had to have a pair, and I still use them today. And now I also have them running through a Mackie Big Knob so that I can switch back and forth between the 2 different pairs of monitors. And so I'm listening to mixes and stuff through 2 different speaker sources. So you make sure it sounds good, and to my ear anyway, through both types of speakers. It does crowd the desk a little bit though, as you can see. And here we have that's a Focusrite 18i20 2nd generation, along with a Persona Studio 192. I am very seriously thinking about selling both of those and getting the newer, updated Focusrite stuff, because they just came out with the 4th gen of the Scarlet series, and I don't do any serious enough recording that I'm going to need any of the really super duper upper end stuff, at least not for right now. But I do need a lot of inputs, because I need a lot of inputs and outputs, because I have a lot of amps that I'm running, and among other things, such as that mic preamp, that Art mic preamp right below it. And over here we got a Personas headphone amp and a couple of DBX rack units. I haven't been able to get those up and running yet. I've got them looped into my interface inputs and outputs, which is something new that I'm trying to do in this place, but I haven't quite gotten that figured out yet. I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4 external hard drives now because of all the content creation stuff that I have saved. The Shure SM7B is probably the most popular broadcast microphone out there, but I like this guy. This is the Aston Stealth, and it sounds it's got 4 different modes on it, but in 8 if you include whether or not you're running phantom power into it. It's a really, really versatile mic. It has one mode that sounds just about identical to an SM7B, but Plus does a whole lot more. So, and it's about the same price, maybe even a little bit cheaper. So, if you're in the market for a good broadcast mic or a vocal mic, or anything that you might use an SM7B for, I suggest you take a look-see at one of these before you pull the trigger on an SM7B, just to make sure that might not be a better fit. That's my old Canon M200 camera. I used to use that for webcam, or for live streams and stuff. I'm not real sure. I got it mounted there. I'm not real sure if I'm going to keep using that or what I'm going to do with it yet. And this is actually a module stand, so for producers and people that are producing like synthesizer music type of content. That's actually what these are designed for, but I thought it would be a good thing to use to set pedals on for doing pedal demos, and most of my pedal demos these days, that's what they're on. That's what you see the pedals sitting on. This Rat pedal, by the way, I have not yet done the video on, but it is coming up soon. It's just a standard Rat 2, just like I'm going to show you the other one here in a minute, but it's the exact same pedal. It's just a white enclosure with black print, limited edition thing they came out with for the holidays this year. I bought it basically strictly for collector purposes, but also because I just love rat pedals, and one of my all-time favorite noise suppressor pedals, the ISP Decimator 2. And down here we got my old trusty Laney IRT Studio, which is the amp that you guys hear in 90% of my demos these days. There's a Korg pitch black tuner, and that's a BBE 362 sonic maximizer. I'm trying to work that into my onboard gear rig here as well, just for kicks. I've had that thing forever. I actually had it in my guitar rig once upon a time, and sounded like shit in a guitar rig, but I'm curious to see if it doesn't serve a better purpose in a studio setting. So, and then of course the ever trusty 2 Notes Torpedo Live. The one Boss pedal that's not on the shelf, by the way, is that RC3 loop station. And again, what I use primarily for most of my gear demos and pedal demos and stuff, the playthrough demos, that's where I loop everything through. Then I usually just leave it sitting out because it doesn't make sense to keep putting it away to take it out again. There's a YouTube channel out there called Marcus Pix, MarkusPix. And Marcus is he has a background in Hollywood films. He's got a ton of knowledge about lighting and all kinds of stuff, and he actually recommended this one on a budget. So far, I found it's not a bad little light for shooting this particular purpose. Let me turn the camera light off, and the window right in front of it is obviously open, but turned out to be a good handy little light for shooting videos. And now we get to the amps. I haven't even gotten to the guitars yet either, just now occurred to me. That's the B52 AT412. I bought that, I don't know, a year or so ago, I guess. I bought it because that's a 400 watt. That cab can handle up to 400 watts, and that Mode 4 that's sitting right there on top of it is 350, and I didn't have another cab that could handle that. So I've had one of those B52 cabs before when I had a B52 head, or two actually. I really liked them. But I moved it along years ago and kind of wished I hadn't, so I bought another one. You can get those cabs really cheap. The heads, the AT100s and ATX100s, unfortunately have increased in price. And that's my trusty Seismic Audio 212. I've recorded a bunch of videos through that as well. Randall Diavolo RD20 head and the RM22 module head. And the modules still got the KH1, that's the Kirk Hammett, that's the clean series, or the clean channel of the Kirk Hammett modules from that series, and the SL Plus, that's the hot rodded Marshall. And then I've got a Mesa Boogie one around here somewhere. Let's see, over here, what do we got? More pedals. There's the other Rat 2 that I was talking about. The white one that you saw earlier, that's basically just that pedal. Digitech pedals, Walrus Audio, the Fundamentals series. Did a couple of videos on those a little while back. The Bogner stuff, and some of the boutique-y stuff, and yeah, just lots of cool stuff. And almost forgot my favorite of them all, my trusty Marshall JCM 900 dual reverb. This is a 1990. This is the first year that amp came out. They were still putting EL34s in the EL34 circuit in these amps before they switched them over to the 5881s. And so it does sound a little bit different than most of the dual reverbs you've ever actually heard, most likely. I've had this thing for, I don't know, probably 10 years or so now. I love this amp. And then that's just a Marshall 1960A that it's sitting on. And over here to the amp rack. All the I used to save all of my pedal boxes, and when we moved, I actually went through all of them, threw most of them out. But there's a few that I hung on to, mostly like the the Boss Anniversary stuff, the stuff, and the OCD boxes. I hung on to those because honestly, for collectability reasons. My biggest concern with those, I'm afraid that if I ever get rid of the pedals, they're going to be devalued if I don't have the boxes with them. Same thing. That's the box to the new Rat pedal, the white one that I just bought. Same reason. That coffin case is actually a mic case. That's got that's got a set of Sennheiser handhelds in it, and that is a Solomon Microphones Low Freak. It's a really cool bass mic. Couple of Panama amplifiers that I still have in my possession. I used to have 4 or 5 of these, and I sold most of them. But I decided to hang on to the Shaman 20 because that was the first one that I got, and it was I really like the sound of it. And the 5-watt Panama, when they were still in business anyway, they actually sent me that amp to demo, and that one surprised me. That one is actually a really good sounding amp. This is the Wong's HD30, which I also did a video on. That is that's based on the SL030, Soldano SL030 circuit. That's what that one's based on. That's a great amplifier. There's a two-note Torpedo X. I've had that thing for probably 6 months. I haven't even gotten to use it yet. The Move obviously got in the way of that. A couple of other attenuators, the original Torpedo Captor, and the Tom Scholl's Power Soak. That's a cool piece of gear. That's a shelf. My crate Stealth goes on that shelf, but I got it loaned out to a buddy of mine, and he still hasn't given it back. Hopefully, I see it again one of these days. My Blue Voodoo below that, and the PV Windsor head below that. And then over here next to that is my acoustic B450. It's a bass combo that I used to use when I was playing bass in a Southern rock cover band. And then that's just a couple of empty rack cases. I'm not sure if they're going to live, or I'm not real sure where they're going to wind up. That may just be their home for the time being until I figure out something else that I need to do with them. And back over here is where all the guitars start. And this video, I'm not going to talk too much about the system that I use to hang them, because I'm going to do it. As a matter of fact, the next video I'm getting ready to shoot is specifically on that system. It's a Gladiator system. It's actually meant for like garage organization and stuff, but you guys have seen all these guitars before. There's nothing new here. Explorers, Epiphones, all that kind of stuff. The Zakk Wylde Vertigo, Les Paul, the famous Les Paul Custom that I worked for so many years to get a hold of. Music Man Majesty, I love that guitar too. My Schecter CR6 that I use in so many videos. All 3 of those Schecters are great guitars, man. I love Schecter. I love Gibson. I love BC Rich. I love all these guitars. Wouldn't own them if I didn't, I guess. That is a USA Washburn Paul Stanley. I was real lucky in how I acquired that one. And the BC Rich stuff. Yeah, there's a USA Hamer Scarab 85. One of the original Ibanez Xiphoses. You guys have seen that one a lot in my videos as well. The Dean 10K commemorative Razorback. And the Chapman stuff. And my old trusty RE Pro 2 XL. When I was at Guitar Center, these are some of the awards that I had earned while I was there. The Rockstar Award, that was one that I earned. I just, as a leader, and just doing a good job that year. One of the ones I am the most proud of, though, here is this one that says "You Guru," and 2012. The reason why that one's important is because that year I bought and sold more used gear than the rest of the store staff combined. And I've always been proud of that. I got really, really familiar with the used and vintage gear markets. And that was my management picture that was hanging on the wall just inside the front door when you walked in when I was there. Long time ago. Guitar strings. That's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I am really looking forward to producing content in this room, to share with you guys. It's like I said, I'm already just a lot more comfortable in here. One thing that I forgot to mention though is actually the color on the wall. It took me a while to paint this room. You may have seen some bad painting spots. I discovered I am a far better guitar player than I am a painter. If you've noticed my painting skills, you still might not think much about my guitar playing skills either, and that's okay. You're probably not wrong. But the color I really liked. It's kind of somewhere between. You guys know I'm a huge football fan, so it's kind of somewhere between Baltimore Ravens purple and Minnesota Vikings purple. I've always kind of really liked that dark purplish blue color. So that's what I went with. It's a much more like calming, mellowing, relaxing type of atmosphere than that old, diarrhea mustard shit brown color, whatever it was on the on the walls of the other house. I don't miss that at all. I always had aspirations of painting it, but it was a lot of work and I never got to it. So I decided that was gonna be the first thing I did in this room before I moved into it. Anyway, so thank you for taking the time to check out my new studio that I am very much looking forward to sharing with you. Comment down below. Adios.